60, according to the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. Whoever attains the age of 60, he's an older person. But the elderly, it means this person is old, however, is frail. So to say that they are same, it will be meaning them. We shall be losing the meaning.
Older persons are still part of the workforce.
Yes.
And the elderly,
the elderly
you can't say they're out of the workforce.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is why, if we are celebrating the International Day for Older Persons, we are celebrating their contributions as older persons. These people are still working. They have worked for this country. So we shall be losing a point if we don't celebrate and commemorate what they have done to this country. Even the elderly, when they were older persons and when they were young, they contributed to the development of this country.
Okay, Mr. Chairman of the Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection. Yes, Karibu, and as we talk about this day of the older persons celebrating this particular day, do people understand it?
I could say partly,
especially the people that
partly,
you're representing.
but the majority of the people don't understand it, and that's why we give a lot of attention and interest to it to make sure that people really understand, appreciate, and value this day and the older persons.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what on this day, for example, when somebody knows that today is an international day for the older persons, just ab initio, what is it? What do people understand about it? Because at least we now understand Women's Day, we understand Youth Day. There are quite a number of days. Now Older Persons Day is actually one of those, but its etymology or its genesis that people should even actually have and make a sense out of it.
You know, I think what is important on a day like this is to recognize and appreciate the contribution of these older persons to the economies, to the social life of the world and of the respective countries. So we are where we are economically, socially, and whatsoever because of that contribution they kept putting in, and this cannot just be ignored or left pass without recognition. So that's the importance, and also know as we are making our contribution at this point, we are also entering the same stage as they are in, and therefore we should also work to be valued.
Well, very important.
Can I add on?
Yes.
This is the day when the government and the stakeholders take stock of what has been done for the older persons, and even identify the challenges or the gaps that are within the aging issues. So today, as a country, we take stock, we identify the challenges, and we come up with a way forward. That in case there are challenges, how can we work together as stakeholders and older persons to make sure that the older persons are living a dignified life tomorrow?
What as a gerontologist do you do, Mr. Menya?
The gerontologist, by the gerontology, it is an issue to do with the social life of an older person. So the gerontologists are looking at the social aspect of an older person. Yes.
Did you study that?
Yes.
You study that?
Yes.
Okay, that's very important. Now, because that's what you do, and you work with the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, the ministry, the parent ministry that houses the older persons in this country. Let's talk about their inclusiveness in our development, for example. When we talk about the older persons, I personally do not know how many we are. I do not know how many they are in this country. But let's talk about their inclusiveness. Where are they? The inclusiveness of the older persons, digitally, economically, financially, are they a problem to us, or they are a resource to this country?
Ideally, in the development process, we can't leave out older persons digitally, because the way the economy is moving, everything has been digitized. For instance, as we talk of money withdrawal, people are going ATM, NIRA registration, it is digital.
Passports now?
Yeah, passports.
Immigration is gone
digital. So you find that in the digital world, everybody of us is part. So that means the older persons have been included in that area. However, today, as we are talking about the digital inclusion, we are calling upon all stakeholders to make sure that we train older persons in this area of digital. Computer world, even the phones we're using, the smartphones we're using, we can't do without an older person. Then other areas of development, economic development, the older persons, by the way, it is said that people are more productive after 60.
Who says that?
The research.
Okay.
Research has it that between 60 and 65, we are more productive there. That is when people have settled down, they're on their farms, they are in agriculture, they are everywhere. Other than offering government service, because they have retired from public service, now they have gone to settle in their farms, they are in production. So we are seeing older persons being part of production, being part of continuous growth and development. So in regard to inclusive development, we need the older person.
So is government doing enough to include the older persons into the digital accesses of this country, because that's where we're going now. You want to book a ticket from here to anywhere, it's digital. Yeah. You want to access that, it's digital. We are even ordering for food digitally now. You can sit in an office here, then digitally ask for breakfast, and before you even think about doing anything, breakfast is already here. What is government doing to make sure that digital access to the older person is also enhanced?
In fact, today, Mr. Semakula, government is reviewing the policy of older persons. Okay. You remember the policy that we had. The policy that we had was in 2009. So it has lived its usefulness. So today we are reviewing, and as we review, we are talking about continuous learning of older persons, so, and the training of older persons. So working together with our partners and the members of parliament, we want to see that the older persons are trained in the area of digital. Okay. And that is why today, as we celebrate the International Day for Older Persons, it is awareness creation to the private sector, to the CSOs and other line ministries to make sure that older persons are included in their digital. Okay. The Minister of ICT, it is important that the Minister of ICT takes the mentor to make sure that older persons are included in their development, on their development agenda. Okay. Because we can't leave them out completely. Okay. Yes. Yes.
Honorable Opolot, let's talk about the social protection itself. What's our status like in this country?
The status of social protection, I would briefly say, is still limping or wanting, because given the number of members of our population who are vulnerable and the amount of investment so far, you find that we still need to do a lot. But what I am happy about is that gradually we have developed the commitment towards it. When it talks of the policy review and so on, this is something which is positive. But the challenge we have is that apart from the resource implications, the understanding by the communities. When you talk of social protection in our communities, many people don't understand what you are saying. Exactly. Because people have been born, raised, and they see older persons, they see single mothers, they see orphaned children or household heads, and they think it is normal. So when you now say, no, there is a problem here, some of them say, no, we have grown up in that and we are still alive. So it is still wanting, but the commitment and the interest at a certain level has been developed. So now for us as a parliamentary forum and the Minister of Gender and other stakeholders, our role now is to drum up the understanding by communities, the understanding by several other stakeholders, and also lobby for the commitment to lift it higher than it is now, so that we can have social protection looked at from its broader perspective, and interventions developed towards addressing the situation.
Okay.
So that's
you know why? I think and I still feel that there's a lot of support that you need to give to Mr. Mwanje here from the ministry. Because
Mr. Menya.
Mr. Menya, I beg your pardon. There's lots that you need to give to Mr. Menya, the technical person right there, because you do the appropriations, you do the legislations, and we look to you, more so the politicians in the House. And I just want to still get this from you as a committee, of course, of Parliament on this thing of social protection. Now, when we talk about social protection in this country, those who seem to understand it may want to think that we talk about older persons.
Yeah.
When you talk about social protection, but yet again, whichever investments that we do in infrastructural development, and when the social fiber is not developed, do you think we can actually move as a country? Because even if we build roads and flyovers across here and everywhere, but we still have the challenges that you talk about. We still have parents who are single. We still have children who are actually parents, children who are parents. We still have lots of the things. The social fiber, the social development, the social, the social aspect of itself. Do you think you as members of Parliament are putting good money, you're putting enough resources into social protection itself?
I will right away say we not just as Parliament, but as a country, we are not putting as much as we need. That's why when I was talking of the challenges of the resource allocations, they do not measure to the challenge at hand. But of course, we also have to appreciate our economic situation, because you cannot bite more than you can chew, but also appreciate where we are coming from, the understanding, appreciation, and valuing of social protection. You know, like you said, when now many times we come here, and you say Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection. By the way, it is a forum of Parliament, not a committee of Parliament. No, people quickly look at the older persons. Because they have seen something is being done there, and for those who have benefited, they are a little happy. Or for those who are supposed to be benefiting, they could be making noise, complaining, because they know they are supposed to be benefiting, but it's not coming. But for us as a forum, we are looking at social protection from the broader perspective, as I had mentioned here, the children, the single mothers, the widows, and all those vulnerable categories of the community whose livelihood and welfare needs focus as a community, but also as a nation.
What are some of the challenges encountered in communities in looking and tackling government programs, for example? Because yes, we know that the government has put up some programs for social protection, but what are some of these challenges that you think are encountered or that you found in the communities in as far as addressing and maybe teaming with government to foster the different developments?
No, I would say one of them is what we have already said: people's understanding of social protection and appreciation, but also the general conditions and levels of poverty in the community. You know, makes people broaden their perspective when it comes to interventions to look at the vulnerable. People think they are all vulnerable. So even having them to support those programs for those whom you think are more vulnerable is a challenge, because sometimes they feel they are left out. But also the involvement of the communities is poor, especially by the actors or those intervening. You find that we impose programs on communities, and they don't understand how they come, for what reason. And so they will have a different understanding from what we have, and the commitment is not there. Yet should have been solicited and the members brought on board at the very inception stage. So bringing people to appreciate what you are doing when they have not been part of it is really a tough process. But I would really think that for those that have programs that have started without the involvement, some engagements can make people appreciate. But also the other bit of it is that the community structures for support to some of these social protection interventions are not strong enough. They are not strong enough. There has developed that individualistic tendency, not that communal responsibility over issues that affect the population. So it is also quite a challenge. If you have come with an intervention and I'm not involved, then I'm not included. So we must mobilize people, sensitize people, and make sure that whatever intervention comes, even if it is addressing one person with a disability, one older person, it should be reviewed as part of intervention to support the entire community.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's important. I'll come back to you and talk about the persons representing older persons in Parliament, and to even actually just know how they're doing in your own area and of course elsewhere. But coming to you, Mr. Menya, what has government achieved, especially through your Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, in as far as social protection is concerned? Some of the things that you look to as government and say, this is where we were, but we've made strides, and we have a few achievements, or these many achievements that we can talk about with pride.
Among where we can say we are proud is, like Honorable said, you know, giving a cash transfer to older persons of 25,000 shillings.
The SAGE fund? The
SAGE fund. That is, we are proud of it. Though the public out there, because like Honorable said, some people don't appreciate. They don't know what we are doing. In fact, they look at the 25,000 as Museveni money. But this is government. Government is giving 25,000 shillings. And the population is saying, this is truly true money.
That's what everybody says. You give 25,000 to an old man or an old woman,
yes,
and you give lots of money to some musician somewhere.
To the most vulnerable, to the vulnerable persons who, on seeing 100 shillings, this person can appreciate. We are not giving money to someone who say, I don't have fuel to drive from Palisa to Kampala.
I don't have bundles to WhatsApp.
Yes, I don't have bundles.
And to load a video on social media.
People we are working with and we are proud of, those people who were originally in absolute poverty. So we are getting that population to where they can comfortably get access to the essential services.
Is the SAGE fund spread across the country? Or
yes, it is across the country.
It's across the country?
Yeah, across all districts in the country are getting from the age of 80. 8 and above. Working with the Parliament, it is an advocacy to see how we can reduce it. Like you have asked Honorable to support the department. If we can get more funding, we can come from 60, sorry, from 80 to a certain lower age. And that's the cry out there. Then after we have lowered the beneficiary age, then we can think of increasing from 25,000 to possibly 30 or 50. Other people are asking us 100,000, but you can't chew what you can't, you know, there is no way. Yeah. Then the other bit in social protection, other than the 25,000 shillings, government is also giving groups of persons with disabilities 50,000, sorry, 55 million. If persons with disabilities come together and apply, government is giving them 5 million shillings.
Recently, when we were talking about the COVID relief funds of Mama Nabanja, I also had people, the PWDs also, of course, crying as any other vulnerable persons. But you have a fund of 5 million shillings. And do people access this money? Do they come to you? Because it was outrageous for people to cry for 100,000, and yet they have a fund of even more money. You know, several other times more than the 100,000. Why aren't you promoting this for the people to know?
It comes the same, like Honor was saying. People are individualizing these issues. If they see the man of the right honorable, the
Mama Nabanja,
they want to run there, but there is the 5 million. And as older persons, even our older persons with disabilities are benefiting. So we are proud of that. We are proud of government to see that our older persons are having the 25,000 shillings. They are having the 5 million. Yeah, there we are there. Then the policies coming on board, the friendly policies. Like I've talked about the policy review. We have a social protection policy. We now, in fact, very soon we are our act for older persons. Very soon will be in cabinet. Yeah. So there we are. As far as social protection is concerned, we are moving. Though we are not yet there, like we could say, but at least there's a beginning. Okay. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges you encounter, especially in administering the SAGE fund? Because once you talk about monies, you disorganize people at every age. When you talk about the YLP, when you talk about the UEP, when you talk about the SAGE, when you talk about the COVID relief funds, when you talk about anything that you talk about and it involves some monies, it can't be a smooth, faultless exercise. What are some of these challenges that you find with the SAGE fund itself across the country?
What we have been experiencing majorly, it is the high expectations of the public. Anyone who is called an older person would think that we are discriminating. If we talk of 80 years, then there is a population, according to the Constitution, it is 60 and above. Then people are saying we are violating their right. That if they are 60, they are supposed to what? To get, but we are not giving. Because of the funds that we have.
Because the Constitution puts older persons at the age of 60. Yes. Just like the Constitution teaches the youth at 18 to 30. And somebody at 31 says, but what am I? Am I an older person now? Am I an adult? Or I'm still a youth at 31 or 32?
So that is a major challenge we are getting. Okay. Then the other challenge that we've been having is the conditions, the terms of an older person accessing this money. This person must be registered Ugandan. Okay. We must have an identity card.
The conditions to get the money. Yeah. Okay, you must have an ID.
You must have an ID.
With a NIN.
Yes.
How many of those have they? Because I think there's a challenge there.
Right now, we are just working. We are working with the NIRA. Okay. To make sure that older persons are registered. There are older persons who have missed out of the scheme or the project because they don't have the national ID. And when one person misses, the whole thing is exaggerated. That government is not doing
because
enough.
One person who misses will come to TV here and say, yes, exactly. And of course,
that is a challenge we are getting, but we are solving it because in fact right now, yesterday we were with the ED for NIRA, and we want them to move to areas where the older persons are living because they can't move to the Gombolola, the sub-county for registration. So we are having a home-based service that can NIRA visit the older persons to register. Okay. And there is that aspect of having the thumbprint.
Because I suspect many of them do not know how to write or even to sign. And the best they can do is a thumbprint.
And at times the machine is failing to capture.
To read. For several reasons.
To read the thumbprint. So it is a challenge, but we have asked the NIRA to see how can we reduce, how can we get an alternative of the thumbprint. So that is another challenge. Then the other challenge we get is that the older persons who are getting the funds, they have been manipulated by the youth, by the young population.
Exactly.
In fact, yesterday I was reading in the newspapers, there is an older man who got money, 200,000? Yeah, he got 200,000. Then when the youth realized that he had got, they went in the night, they wanted to take that money. This man was energetic enough and he killed one of them.
84? Yeah. An 84-year-old killed
one of them.
When do you give this money? Is it monthly? Is it
because of the related costs of administration? Exactly. We give every after 3 months.
Oh, so it's you call that quarter?
Yeah, it is a quarterly basis.
It's a quarterly basis.
Yeah.
So you give them money 4 times a year.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens is you don't give them 25,000, but you give
them
75,000. 70?
No.
5.
Yeah, 75.
75,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you find that they are, if I've missed this quarter, possibly I didn't go to the pay point, the next quarter I'll be entitled to 150,000. If I miss 2 quarters, then the other quarter
175.
Yes.
Okay.
So some older persons are using it as a saving scheme. So when they go to withdraw, they withdraw some
lump sum amount of money.
So the community is looking at them as rich.
Okay.
Like he has said, there's a lot of poverty in our communities. So if they see someone who has who has withdrawn 200,000, they want to take advantage of him.
Okay.
So these are some of the challenges and even awareness creation.
Okay.
The public is very ignorant, and what we are doing today is just an iceberg into a nation. There is a lot of ageism. There is people's attitude has not changed. If we talk of older persons getting 25,000 and even being included in other government programs, the population or the administrators are not willing.
Okay.
They are saying this is a spent force.
Okay.
Why should we waste funds to them?
Okay.
So Honorable, you need to appreciate that in the area of Myoga, the older persons were not categorized as a category that could benefit. So it is just of recent that we are lobbying His Excellency the President and the members to make sure that older persons are included on the list of Myoga.
They are now in the Myoga scheme.
Yeah, but and just like we are saying, can we deliberately capture or recognize older persons in the parish model? Yeah. So that there is no debate. There is no debate.
Now the parish, but of course it comes back to you now the forum for social protection.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying we are saying that. But I also wanted to say one challenge.
Sure.
On top of what Mr. Menya has said, we also have this thing of the COVID interruption. You know, this payment system has been like direct payment to older persons at specific collecting or meeting points. But because of COVID, which has raged on for...
Interruptions have been curtailed.
It has been difficult. And you know, most of these older persons, especially in the rural areas, are not a part of the banking system. So you find that reaching out to them has not been easy, much as now these interventions by Centenary Bank and others have come up. So there was a time period within which payments could not be made. And yet these people needed that money for their continuing medical expenses, for their food, and the other expenses, but they had to do without it because of the interruption.
When legislating and writing these policies and doing quite a number of things, and even just doing advocacy, do we put it in our minds that one day we will also be older persons? Do we consider that? Do we look at that when we are still very flamboyant, very energetic, very powerful in parliament and all these things? Do we look at a time when we are planning, we are advocating, we are legislating, we are doing all these things? Do we consider the fact that I am an opulent today, but 30 years from now, I will be that older person, and there will be somebody in parliament sitting on this forum talking for me. I am a Mr. Menya now in the ministry, but 20, 30 years, I will be a retired Menya somewhere in the village. Maybe I will be one of those now waiting for the SAGE funds. Do we consider these things, or we do it thinking we are just doing it for a category of people? Like you said, the ageism, some look at them as a spent force, some even condemn them for having not planned for their lives when they are still energetic.
I will say very much so. It's considered. That's why you see this the Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection is a very, very vibrant forum. If I am to tell you, apart from the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on for children, We have the Parliamentary Forum on Social Protection. These are platforms which, like almost every member of Parliament is interested in, wants to associate with. And as you know, most of them are young. And as when you look at me, I am old, but not yet that age of getting there. And you know, people are very much interested because apart from looking at ourselves, around us and about us are older persons. Okay. I have a father, I have a mother, I have a grandmother, I have, no, all our communities are having older persons. Okay. So, but also as a parliament, as representatives of people, you represent all categories, but you also see how to prioritize. That's why this forum has done a lot and has moved many things, because all the members of Parliament, including the Right Honourable Speaker, are very passionate about these issues. So it's not just about realizing when I'm there, but members of Parliament are very passionate about issues of social protection and particularly older persons.
To both of you, Honourable Polot and Mr. Patrick Menya, is there a difference between older persons in this country and senior citizens? Who are these? Because I've also heard about the senior citizens grant. Is SAGE supplementary to the senior citizens grant? I need to just understand these things because they're watching.
I can pick first.
Please.
Yes.
Ideally, there is no difference.
It's the same thing.
It is the same thing. Yeah. It is the senior citizens grant. These people, the older persons, the moment they grow, they become seniors. They are senior to us. And because they are senior to us, then they qualify to be senior citizens of this country.
Because there's a tendency or a feeling that a senior citizen is one who maybe worked in civil service or in the public service, or former member of Parliament. So when you look at my mother, who is 74 this year, and she's not been to Parliament, she's not been to the civil service, then she doesn't qualify to be called a senior citizen, but an older person at that.
Please recognize her as one.
I do recognize her as one.
You may recognize her as mommy, but she's a senior citizen.
She's a senior citizen.
Yes,
she's a senior citizen.
Okay. Let's look at that trajectory of social protection in this country. We talk about quite a number of things. Now we have a fund, the NSSF fund. We had the annual members meeting a few days ago. The minister announced you know, we talk about all these things now. The intention of NSSF partly is to help us when we age out of employment, active employment, and as you're retiring, as you're getting into that. We talk about the pension schemes in this country, where we have a system in this country, and I think this comes to you, the Honourable Member of Parliament. We have a system that reminds you, especially when you are in civil service. Mr. Menya here will testify to that he gets a reminder for as long as he's about to clock 60. A truck will remind him, Menya, be ready. Your time is coming. Yes. You know, the referee keeps reminding you that the time is running out, time is running out, time is running out. But once he drops out of the civil service and gets into retirement, then it becomes a problem for them to again now get onto the pension scheme. And the issue here is, where is a system that reminds me that I'm clocking to 60 in a few days, and that same system cannot automatically transfer me off the payroll from the public service to now the pension scheme? What are you doing about these things? Because it also feels bad that seeing people running up and down, moving to you, the Honourable Member of Parliament. People come from Katakwi, people come from Soroti, people come from Amuria, people come from everywhere, trying to look for their pension. What do we need to do with this?
You know, I one time tried to address this issue when I was chairman Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sports, and we had a meeting with Public Service, the Minister of Public Service, including the PS, and we felt that there should be a smooth transition from the payroll to the regular payroll to the pensions payroll. We saw this from the teachers. Many teachers, and it's worse for primary teachers, retire and 2, 3, 4, 5
years,
you know,
still chasing.
Somebody is pacing the streets trying to chase for
their entitlement.
And that's how some people took advantage of them as the agents or middle persons. And the minister was saying they were going to work on such kind of system where when that message keeps reminding you, I imagine it is a very nagging message.
To those who are
yes. You know, it just stops at a point when you have been shifted because you are known. There is nothing new required
of you.
Some
credentials, some everything.
It is just shifted. There should be, you know, we are talking of digital era. This should be possible because it is happening in other countries. You are switched off this way and automatically migrated this way. So that's what I feel, you know, it may cost money, but if it will serve the interests of our people, why not? We waste a lot of money on things that don't touch people's lives. So I think we should have that system which migrates from the regular payroll to the pensions payroll, so that you don't have to see people use agents and pay other people to make you access your entitlement. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's very important. Mr. Menya, our time is running out. In the next maybe 2 minutes, we'll be signing out. A final message from you to the public. What should they take from this day of the older persons, and what's your clarion call to the public of Uganda viewing and watching us now?
What I can say is that today, like we have said, we are commemorating the International Day for Older Persons. And my call to the public is making sure that wherever there is an older person, there is a youth. Let the youth take it on the agenda to assist the older persons. In the area of digital, if an older person is having an issue with the telephone to call on the digital, let the other youths come in to assist the older person. And today we are having a lot of activities, but one of the major is having His Excellency the President addressing this nation on issues of aging. I think the function is starting at 11 at the State House. He has hosted the older persons. So I think UBC is there. We shall have that function live.
It's coming live.
Yes. So my call is, let us end elder abuse. Let us work for older persons, anticipating that we are also growing old at one time.
Thank you very much. Your final message in just 1 minute?
Yeah, thank you very much. For me, I want to, like Mr. Menya has appealed to the young people to support the older persons. I want to specifically appeal to them at a time like this, when we are struggling with this, amidst this COVID pandemic, to make sure that the older persons are supported to access vaccination, so that we can extend their life and reduce on their vulnerability as a result of COVID. But I also want to appeal to government agencies to ensure smooth coordination, so that one government agency automatically benefits another, but the older persons should not lose out or should not be inconvenienced because, for instance, NIRA is not smoothly coordinating with Ministry of Gender, and so the government agencies should all work together in a very smooth and coordinated manner, so that the vulnerable people, in this case the older persons, are served to the best of their expectation.
Well, I want to thank you so much, General Opolot, the chairperson for the
Uganda
Parliamentary Social Protection Forum. Thank you very much for joining us in studio this morning. And thank you so much, Mr. Patrick Menyam, Senior Gerontologist from the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development. And to both of you and to the people out there, to just say a happy day for the older persons. To remind you that after Pan-African Friday, very shortly, His Excellency President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni will be speaking to us from State House, where he's hosting this event for this particular day. We now switch over to the Pan-African Friday. My name is Jagenda Samakola, returning shortly with the Pan-African panel. We'll come back.